Hello and welcome to the final whistle with me, Daniel Waterson, looking back at Hibs' 3-0 victory over Motherwell in the opening league match of the season. Coming up, James Delaney and I talk through the game, Lennon speaks with Hibs TV, and we also have post-match thoughts of Marvin Bartley. But first, let's relive all the goals with Hibs TV's Cliff Pike and Keith Reid.
Stevie Malin looks at it, goes for it right-footed, it's in the back of the net! Stevie Malin! Boom! Every time that boy's over a free kick from that distance, you fancy it's going to hit the back of the net, and once again it does.
Brilliant stuff, right-footed I said, and right-footed it was, and back in net it is. Hibs 1, Motherwell 0.
Stevie Malin gives Hibs the breakthrough. 29 minutes gone, Hibs 1, Motherwell 0. And the Motherwell skipper, Peter Hartley, going to be held culpable for that one by his manager. It was a crazy thing to do. The ball was running through to the goalkeeper. I don't know why he put his arm out, but we'll take it. It's got Taylor Sinclair outside him. Flips the ball back in. Andy Rose chanced from the edge of the 18-yard box, but he dilly-dallied too long on it, and Hibs will get it through. Clear through Stevie Malin. Martin Boyle now. 3 against 2, 3 on 3 if you include Marvin Bartley. Marvin Bartley can't get it under control, but Lewis Stevenson's behind him. Rolled back to John McGinn. Tips the ball in. Shaw, he's in. Chance for Ollie Shaw. It's in the back of the net. Fabulous goal from Hibs. 2-0. Ollie Shaw. Ball in by Lewis Stevenson. To John McGinn. He saw Ollie Shaw's run towards the back post, and from a tight angle, Shaw clips it in off Trevor Carson into the back of the net, and just on half time, Hibs have a 2-goal lead. Yeah, vital goal, a vital side from Ollie Shaw. Great work as well, all the way from the Hibs penalty area to the back of the Motherwell net. Great ball in from John McGinn, finally to Ollie Shaw from the tightest of angles. He puts in the back of the Motherwell net to give Hibs a vital 2-0 lead.
James, that was all very comfortable and routine. 3-0 win for Hibs over Motherwell to get the league campaign off to a great start.
Yeah, it's a really odd feeling to be sitting here first day of the season. Comfortable workmanlike performance. Never really looked like we were gonna lose it against a Motherwell team that caused us a few problems when they came here last season, albeit a few players missing. But yeah, very surprising. I think a lot of people would have expected the fatigue and after our efforts on Thursday to really play a part, but we never really looked like we were flagging there at any point, and it's a very good 3 points to get the league season underway.
The third goal went in around about the 50th minute, and I think from then it was obviously a case of it felt like job done. It was almost like we didn't even go down to first gear, we almost just went into neutral. We were happy to soak up the Motherwell attacks, almost like a training exercise in defensive work.
It was, like I say, we never at any point looked like we were properly losing the plot. I mean, admittedly, Motherwell have a couple of half-decent chances towards the end of the game, but you never really felt that they were going to score, to be honest. You never sort of really felt that they were going to do enough to trouble Hibs in, a way that was going to change the game, even though with about half an hour to go, like you say, we completely took our foot off the gas. But I think that our performance leading up to there allows us to do that. I'm sure Gary Parker and Lennon will be delighted with the first hour of the game. And like I say, obviously I think the last half hour, dropped down a gear. We're possibly at that stage, minds are going forward to Thursday rather than being on the 90 minutes here, but that's totally understandable, and like I say, we worked hard enough to get ourselves into that position. It was all about just maintaining that, and exactly what we did.
I think as far as kind of 96-hour spells go for this club, getting through to the next round of Europe, re-signing Jamie McLaren, winning a league game 3-0 as comfortable as you like, it must rank up there, certainly in modern times with Hibs.
It's been alright, hasn't it? It's it's been a really odd sort of, we talked about it at half time, is this wave of optimism that we kind of haven't really felt for the past few years. I mean, Scottish Cup win aside, I can't really remember going into a league campaign feeling as optimistic and feeling like we're actually on the verge of something really special, quite like this, and today could have put a dampener on that given our performance on Thursday, if we came out here we were just absolutely out on our feet. But fair play, we turned up. The guys who didn't play on Thursday and came into the squad, I think, staked a claim ahead of the game against Molde this Thursday. Everybody did their jobs brilliantly, and it's a very good performance and a very good way to sort of keep the feel-good factor going.
And something that I feel Neil Lennon has done at Hibs is he's almost made the phrase that starts "wouldn't it be typical of Hibs" too redundant. After so many games where you'll get a big win and you go, wouldn't it be typical of Hibs to then go into this match and drop points? They don't, they win. And the latest one was probably, we were all thinking, wouldn't it be typical of Hibs to get through to the next round of the Europa League qualifiers and then maybe take the foot off the gas today. And walking into the stadium, and I'm sure all the fans felt it as well, there was just this wave of confidence and expectation, and the game just never really seemed in any doubt from the first whistle.
No, and I mean, it wasn't a game where there were, or particularly in the first half, it wasn't a game where there was loads of chances, and it was just a case of Motherwell not putting theirs away and us taking ours. I mean, Motherwell really in the first half didn't create anything, and we created two real chances and scored them both, which again is another sort of classic Hibs trait, if you like, is creating loads of chances and not quite scoring them, and then losing a silly goal or something. Today completely different. We get two shots in the first half, or two sort of decent shots in the first half, and score them both. The second half, it's virtually our first chance and we take it, and that kind of kills the game effectively for Motherwell, even with 35 minutes or whatever it is to go.
So looking at the game from the start, 3 changes from Thursday: Darren McGregor, Vikinta Slivka, Flo Canberry all drop out, and come Ryan Pochus, Marvin Bartley, Ollie Shaw. Jamie McLaren obviously takes the place on the bench, but from the opening whistle, I think Carol McHugh gets booked in the first 2 or 3 minutes for a rash challenge on Marvin Bartley. David Gray puts in a dangerous cross Ollie Shaw can't quite get to, and in that opening 10-15 minutes Hibs are really dominant, some really nice movement down the wings, and I think once we have Canberry and McLaren taking up those striking roles, these dangerous crosses that we see for Gray and Stevenson or Boyle when he goes out to the right, they're going to be begging to be tapped home by them.
Well, that's the thing, and I think it is the fact that the core of this squad has been kept together for so long. There's an understanding between those players. Obviously Lewis Stevenson and Paul Hanlon have been here long enough that they both know each other's games really well, but the likes of John McGinn and Davy Gray and even Martin Boyle are absolutely key in integrating sort of the newer players who come into the squad in our style of football. And you can kind of see that today, is that everybody was very confident in what the other players on the pitch were doing. Every time Lewis Stevenson was getting the ball, Paul Hanlon was already motoring up on the overlap. Every time Martin Boyle was getting a half chance, that Ollie Shaw was already getting himself into the box. As soon as John McGinn got the ball, we had 2 or 3 players making runs off him and looking for the pass. And I think that's one of the things that really since we've been relegated effectively, what was that, 4 years ago now? It seems like a ridiculously distant memory. Thankfully, it seems ages ago that actually happened, but it's only 4 years, and in 4 years we've fostered such a team spirit that everybody's willing to work for this team. Everybody's willing to play 90 minutes on Thursday, fly back over on Friday. I think it was half a day's training yesterday, and then come out and put that performance on the pitch for an hour today. It's fantastic to kind of see that and to have that consistency of a squad. It used to be, if Hibs had a really good season, the squad would just be completely ripped apart ahead of the Nets campaign. It would effectively be starting from scratch, but we've kept that core, we've kept that 4 or 5 players who've been central to our success over recent years, and you can see that they're having a positive impact on the newer signings.
It's one of the newer signings that opens the scoring. Stevie Mallon wins a free kick for a shot from about 35-40 yards. Handball's given, it's about 20 yards from goal. You said at half time on Hibs TV, every Motherwell player seemed to be making up that wall, and he's found that little gap and he's just curled it nicely into the bottom right hand corner, and this is exactly what we expect from Stevie Malin. We said it's 3 free kicks he scored already for Hibs, and this is only our first league game. It's probably more than the Hibs team have scored in the last 3 or 4 years combined.
It was like the Great Wall of Lanarkshire. It was just it was stretching almost across the entire box. I was trying to think. I actually saw a message from one of my friends at half time just saying he's probably best free kick taker since Lee Griffiths, which I think that's 5 or 6 years ago that Lee Griffiths was here. I think sort of speaks volumes about our ability to be a threat from those kind of situations. But yeah, I mean, like you're saying, that's now 5 goals Stevie Mellon scored from Hibs, and not one of them's been from inside the box. The early part of last season, we talked about how much we were crying out for somebody who could, be a bit of a threat from distance, and who could open a game up in that final third, in that space between the midfield and the attack, and that's exactly what Stevie Mellon's brought. He's obviously, he's not quite up to full match fitness yet. He had a bit of a bad injury last season, which I'm sure he's probably still, if not physically recovering from, then mentally recovering from. But once we get him up to 100%, he's going to be a fantastic player. And if this is not him playing at 100%, then we have a lot more to look forward to. Yeah,
but that's it exactly. We discussed that it's not only the long range shots, it's even just the threat of them is pulling defenders out and freeing up passes which he can then pick out. And he's going to be a pivotal player that you kind of don't understand what Barnsley didn't see in him.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, isn't it? I mean, look at the sort of players that Barnsley brought in. They brought in Stevie Mellon, and they brought in Liam Lindsay, and from Scotland. And from what I gather, that Liam Lindsay's well liked down there. I think everybody would have been expecting Stevie Mellon to go down there and be the X factor for them, and obviously he doesn't obviously get his chance. He gets a bit of an injury, and whether it's a change in managers or a change in styles, that they just it wasn't quite working for him. He's certainly proven them wrong. Coming up here, I think he's been talks about sort of 4 or 5 games that he's played, and he's been very good in all of them. Like I say, if that's not quite 100% yet, then there's a lot more to come, and I'm sure it's going to be brilliant to watch him over the next few years.
Yeah, so we've got the goal at that point, and it remains so comfortable. I think Motherwell had a couple of kind of half chances from distance in that first half, but right on half time, it seems to me that the more clubs that get linked with John McGinn, the better he seems to be in a Hibs top. It's his through ball that finds Ollie Shaw. It's another really composed finish from what is looking like a more and more promising youngster.
Yeah, it's a very good finish. I'm sure Trevor Carson will be looking back at it and probably won't be entirely happy with his his role in that. It's actually a good break forward. I think as Martin Boyle brings the ball forward, it doesn't quite get the pass off that he wants. It comes out to McGinn. I mean, it's a John McGinn pass. It's absolutely pinpoint. It's right on Ollie Shaw. Still has to be tucked away though. It's good control by Shaw, and it's a neat finish in at the near post. And we talked about sort of last season Ollie Shaw coming into the squad and making an impact from, I think it was about October, November time. And he's been given his chance a few months earlier this season, and he didn't play on Thursday. He didn't play against Tripolis in the home game. He scored against Runevik. He played against Runevik in the away game as well, I think. And it's one of those, if you keep giving him chances, he's got to just keep taking them. He has taken his chance today. I think Cliff mentioned on Hibs TV at half time that Jamie McLaren's agent had said that him and Canberra were getting the band back together, but the support act was putting on a decent enough show.
That's a good line.
It is a good line. That's why he's Cliff Pike, and we are the mere mortals doing this podcast. And that's the mentality Ollie Shaw will have this season. He knows he's going to get chances, particularly if we keep progressing in our cup competitions and keep doing well in our league games. There's going to be plenty of chances to get on the pitch in the first team and from the start, and put in performances like that. He will be a very pivotal player for us this season, and you can see him getting a few goals in this team.
More from James and I shortly, but let's hear from Neil Lennon speaking with Hibs TV.
You must be delighted with that performance, probably as good as you could have expected on the opening day of the season.
Yeah, I mean, really surprised by it, the quality of the performance against a very good side, and a great result, great goals, but the team performance, clean sheet as well, pleased me, and off the back of Thursday, which took a lot out of the boys mentally and physically. It's a great result, and I was delighted with the boys that came in as well. I thought Marvin was superb, Ryan had a great game, and Ollie Shaw had a great game, so they can be really pleased with the contributions today.
Such as social media nowadays. The minute the team was announced, there were raised eyebrows and comments about it, but it vindicated your decision to start Flo and Jamie McLaren on the bench. Ollie Shaw and Martin Boyle out there couldn't have done any more.
No, I mean, Flo has a knee problem at the minute, and we're trying to find the balance between Thursdays and Sundays, and the way the game went, we were maybe going to give him half an hour, but we didn't need to, so that was a real bonus. He can settle it down and be fit for Thursday. In terms of Darren, he's got this, puffiness in his knee, which flared up again this morning, so he was out. And I wanted to get Marvin for a bit of physical strength. Vicky had cramp on Thursday night, and the turnaround's very, very quick. So it was just common sense, really, as well as, getting some fresh legs in there, allied to what we already had.
And confidence for you as the manager that you've got guys there that can come in and step up to the mark when you need them to.
Well, I'm delighted with the two young lads, and I'm delighted with Marvin. It's been a bit frustrating for him, but his attitude has been superb, and he was ready to play, and I thought he had a huge influence on the game, along with McGinn in there and Mallon. So and the two young lads have been chomping at the bit. Now, we can't stop the progress. We've got to give them an opportunity to play, and they took their opportunity today.
If we look at the goals, Stevie Mallon, free kick, you get free kicks in that sort of area, there's a fair chance he's going to stick it in the back of the net.
That's a fantastic skill he's got, and the quality and speed that he hits the ball with the control as well, and both corners he can go, and it's a real asset to have. I like that. He's a very good player. I've been so impressed with him. So that got us off to a great start, one which I felt we deserved, because we were at the forefront of the game, particularly the first half hour, 40 minutes. I was delighted with the start we made. And
the second goal came at a really good time just before half time, and a great finish from Ollie Shaw. He didn't panic, it was a tight angle, drew the goalkeeper, clipped it in off him. Great time to score the second one.
He was unlucky early on. John found him with a great ball, and his first touch sort of stuck in the grass a little bit and he couldn't get out of his feet. Second one, John again, his vision's tremendous, and the quality of the pass is brilliant, and Ollie did it justice. It was a really good finish, and I was delighted with his all-round play today. He hasn't been shown that pre-season, but we've got great faith in him, and we know he's got goals in him as well. So again, the year down the line is a new season for them. You're hoping that they start to mature with being around the first team a lot, and you can see that they're comfortable at the minute in that environment.
2-0 is one of these strange scorelines. If they get one back, it puts all back in the melting pot. So Martin Boyle getting that third goal just after half time, that was key to it as well.
He's a tremendous player, tremendous. He can play in a variety of positions, and he always makes something happen, and his work rate is phenomenal. He deserves everything he gets, and he scuffed one before that, but he lined it up brilliantly, and it's just that pace. He can get away from people, and people back off him because they're scared of his movement, and it's a great finish, and that put us really in a very strong position where I could start to rest a few with Thursday in mind.
And defensively, to keep a clean sheet as well is always good. Your goalkeeper again, he was coming and taking crosses all the time there. That's what centre halves want to see.
Yeah, well, the whole team do. It gives them a lot of confidence. Obviously, off the back of Thursday, Adam's starting to really find his form. He's outstanding today in everything he did, and it gives us that sort of calmness. He had to make one tremendous save, the one-on-one. He kept that out, and I think the Hibs fans are starting to see what a good goalkeeper he really is.
So we move forward to Thursday, Molde. It'll be a step up maybe. A great result today. It's got to lift the confidence for that game. The guys, they know they can do it. They've done it against Asteris. They know they can do it on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced there's much between them and Asteris. And the Asteris tie was a great learning curve for us, and we showed tremendous amounts of character. But it will be a severe test. They're midway through the season. I think they finished second in the Norwegian League, and they've won their two ties pretty comfortably. They've got goals in them. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be rest now. Get them away from here and get them a couple of days to recover and get ready for a big night Thursday night. They've earned the right to be there.
But those European nights under the lights here at Easter Road, the fans right behind the side, it's going to be some atmosphere in the place again.
Yeah, you can't beat it. And the fans are really buying into it. They were brilliant last week in Greece, and they have been, again today, 17,000, fantastic crowd for this time of year for us, and I'd imagine it'll be a cracking atmosphere and one that the players will hopefully connect with.
So the half-time whistle goes at that point. Motherwell make two changes at half-time. to me, first half especially, maybe the first hour, they looked as poor as any team that played at Easter Road last season. Really one-dimensional stuff, two big guys up front, but Hibs took advantage of that very quickly in the second half. Martin Boyle, good run, even better finish, and after 50 minutes it's game over.
It's a very intelligent finish from Martin Boyle. Sort of cuts inside from the left hand side, and he sort of actually feints to shoot before it, which I think kind of forces the defender to stop, and it's a very neat finish into the bottom corner. At that stage, like you say, Motherwell, they didn't really sort of look ready. Obviously, they've played through the League Cup campaign, and I watched a bit of their game against Clyde last week, and the League Cup group stages are, they are what they are effectively. They aren't necessarily played at the same kind of intensity as other sort of cup games might be played, or as this league game might be played, and that's certainly not sort of disparaging the League Cup at all, because it was quite enjoyable being in it for the first time last season in that group stage. We got a lot of decent results in that, got a lot of early momentum from that, but you wondered just how their squad's going to cope with the players they've lost. Their form kind of didn't sort of fall off a cliff necessarily last season after Louis Moult left, but it certainly suffered. And I think Curtis Main is a very good player, a very industrious player, but him and Connor Salmon playing up front, it's playing sort of two very similar strikers, where you might be expecting one of them to be making runs in behind. Neither of them were really doing that. They were both sort of challenging for the ball. It basically didn't give them anything else in behind, or anything else going for them up front. And I thought we dealt very well with that. There's still sort of two big bruising players who have to be dealt with. Brian Porteous, I thought, had an excellent game, even though he seemed determined to try and kick the ball out of the stadium for most of the second half. I thought Effie Ambrose looked fairly comfortable. Paul Hanlon, as he always does, looked very comfortable. So at that stage, 3-0 up, we never really properly looked like we were sort of in any danger of conceding a goal. I thought Danny Johnson made a difference when he came on from Motherwell. I thought he actually looked a decent player and offered something a little bit different, but it was like the game sort of finished about half an hour early, really. Yeah,
it just seemed to almost switch into, I've already said, it almost felt like a training session. Hibs feel the job's done, so they can take the foot off the gas, keep their energy for Molde on Thursday. Motherwell, you've already just said there, when Johnson comes on, and all of a sudden they've got a little bit of mobility and movement up front when Salmon's winning flick-ons, and Johnson has a good few chances. The first one he's put through, he hits it off the post. Hibs had kind of become a little bit too relaxed. I think it's a Jamie McLaren back pass. It was a bit short that led to that one. The stadium woke up again at that point, but Johnson had another one where he's through again. Adam Bogdan stood up well to it. Adam Bogdan, who will say that you could see the confidence just oozing out of him after Thursday's performance, coming for crosses, claiming them absolutely no bother, standing up well for that save. And Motherwell were creating chances, but I said it to you during the game, I never felt kind of apprehensive and thought, here we go, this is a goal. There was just such a weird aura around this match that you're going, he's going to miss.
Yeah, it was a bit, on Adam Bogdan first, I think that the confidence just comes with game time. He's not played a lot of football over the past year or so, considering sort of how far down the pecking order he was at Liverpool, and that confidence is just going to come back with playing first team games. It's been good for him, I think, to be playing games effectively in European competition. To start off with, made a couple of half decent saves today, two brilliant saves on Thursday in particular, and that confidence is going to come with game time. But you're right in what you say there. I thought Johnson did offer something a little bit of a different dimension. It kind of put me in mind of, we played Motherwell here fairly early on in the season last season, where we were 2 up and we ended up drawing 2-2, and Louis Moult scored both goals, and in that game, even after we went 2-0 up, Motherwell looked like a side that could still come back and take something from the game, and in the end we're probably a bit unfortunate not to take all 3 points. that just didn't really happen here today. Even though they did have chances, Johnson's a couple of half decent efforts, hits the post, and then his rebound to that's brilliantly blocked by Paul Hanlon. As ball time comes out, he makes a good save. He has another one that just goes narrowly wide. So you can kind of see from Motherwell's point of view that he might be a decent player and he will offer something a little bit different. But today it was just like it was like I said, Motherwell just didn't really look ready yet. It might be the case that 2-3 months down the line they are a bit of a better side and they're a bit more ready effectively for playing week in, week out, but it looks like it might take them a few weeks to get up to speed at this stage.
Yeah, and I think the next chance after that comes for Hibs. Stephen McLaren gets put through, comfortable enough save for Carson, and then there's a moment of controversy. Motherwell, even at the final whistle, were surrounding Bobby Madden for this. Johnson gets away from the defender, finishes well, but disallowed for handball. I can't say I noticed the handball, but that's not to say that it wasn't absolutely 100% a handball and a free kick to Hibs.
Well, absolutely. I'm surprised we didn't get a penalty for it, to be honest. No, I mean, it's one of those that you probably have to see back. It's certainly... It is one of those where the ball's kind of bouncing around sort of waist height, and by that token there's always a danger of it hitting a hand. Whether that's enough to award a free kick for is a totally different matter. In the end we'll take it. It's nice to start off the season with a clean sheet, but Motherwell players obviously not particularly happy with that at the final whistle, and I'm sure Stephen Robinson will be watching the highlights back like a hawk to try and see if he can spot that handball himself. I think even if it was given, it wouldn't have made much an impact on the game. But I think one final chance for Motherwell in injury time, Bogdan another good save, and Connor Salmon, he was flagged for offside, but Connor Salmon's miss at the follow-up pretty much summed up their afternoon. I mean, regardless of whether that was offside or not, I mean, it was at least funny. I think that's, we can say that it was a bit funny. I mean, probably not for Connor Salmon, but it wasn't great, and it was kind of indicative of Motherwell's entire performance. Really, it just didn't quite happen for them today, and in the end we managed to get home with a clean sheet and 3 points to start the season. Yep,
and now it's all eyes on Thursday. This game kind of snuck up on us because of what has been just would it be safe to say our best European run, and many young Hibs fans had lifetimes like ours.
I mean, it is a totally bizarre thing where we've only won through 2 rounds of Europe, but it's bred so much confidence that there is actually that kind of optimism that we talked about earlier, that we might actually be able to go out and put another good performance in and go out and beat Molde. I mean, it is very similar to the Tripolis game in that we probably don't know an awful lot about Molde. I know they've got a couple of decent young players, I know they've got a couple of younger players who've been watched by much bigger sides in Europe. We don't really know at this stage kind of what kind of standard they're going to play at. Obviously in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer they've got a manager who is no stranger to a bit of European success. I'm sure he'll be bringing that experience into the dressing room, and they're obviously not going to be any mugs. It's going to be a difficult game, but I think at this stage we now know what's required to beat a team like that. We're in the hat tomorrow. I think the draw is Monday.
Monday. Yep. Try to break down who's seeded and unseeded. It looks like it could be one of Zenit, Olympiacos, Genk, Braga, Feyenoord. Some daunting fixtures in there, others that are equally daunting, but you would kind of think there's half a chance, but again it's Molde first.
Exactly, and it's it feels a little bit cheeky at this stage to kind of be looking sort of around ahead, but we can certainly dream. I mean, I think an away day in Feyenoord, given the amount of Hibs fans that went over to Greece, I'm sure the wee hop over to Amsterdam and the train to Rotterdam, it's probably get a few going over, I think.
It would just be a calm.
It would be a nice calm trip. No shenanigans going on at all. I'm certainly not got my Sky Scanner already loaded up for that one, but no, I mean, it's what we've been saying after every single round of this, and going into this tournament, it's just it'd be nice to get a big team, but if it's constant winnable ties and we keep going out and putting in performances, and putting in performances like we did on Thursday and like we did a couple of weeks ago against Tripolis, then that's all we can ask for. Neil Lennon said that he wants to get to the group stage. It's obviously a difficult task, and it's a daunting one, but so far his players have risen to the occasion, and I hope they keep doing so, regardless of who we're playing. Starts with Molde on Thursday night. I think we need a positive result at home. I know they got beat by Glenavon in the first qualifying round in the first leg in Northern Ireland, and then they absolutely dismantled them back in Norway. I think it's like 5-0 or something.
And was it not 7 or 8-0 win in aggregate against the Albanian team that they just played?
So they're obviously a decent attacking side, but we've shown that we can rise to the occasion when need be, and it's all about doing that again on Thursday night.
And now here's post-match thoughts of Marvin Bartley talking to Cliff.
Marvin, a terrific performance from the lads today. You'd be delighted to get the start yourself.
Yeah, no, first and foremost it's important to win, and as a team I think we played very, very well. Ollie took his goal well, Boiler as well. I can't remember, he scored the other one. He scored the other goal. Ollie, Boiler and
Stevie Mellon.
Oh yeah, free kick, yeah. So no, the boys, yeah, that's it. We expect it from him now. So no, it was brilliant team performance, and obviously I'm delighted to start and get 90 minutes under my belt.
From your own point of view, it was a slightly different performance from you to what we're normally used to. You seem to be getting much further forward than you normally do. Was that a conscious thing?
I think obviously with Stevie and John playing on Thursday, and then obviously having a short period between that game and this game, I think it was important that I helped them in terms of trying to get forward myself and try and cover a bit more ground. So we decided that before the game between us, and obviously it worked today.
There's a couple of opportunities there where I thought the fans thought you were going to let the shot go, but just not today.
Nah, too old for that. I'll leave that to the younger boys to do the scoring. I said to John, when I go further forward and I can't see him, I know he's going to be behind me, so I'll just turn around and give him or Stevie the ball and let them work their magic. So no shots from me.
And after the exertions in midweek in Greece, confidence was obviously high after that result and performance, but to get a result like that today on the opening day of the season must be great again for the confidence.
Yeah, it's massive. Everyone wants to win their first game, and to win it 3-0 and put on a performance like that, and obviously we've made a few changes. It shows that the squad's very, very strong. So it was important that we won today, but to win in that style, the boys are delighted, and we'll take the confidence going into our next game.
The manager did say that he wanted to give you the start. He says he felt a bit sort of sorry for you. You've been frustrated at not getting the start, but all you can do when you go out there is do what you did today and hope that you get to keep the jersey.
Yeah, no, exactly. Everyone wants to play, everyone wants to start, but the Gaf's got tough decisions to make because only 11 people can play. So although I do get frustrated, and so do the other boys who don't play, I think we're in it together as a team, so we can't let that your own personal disappointment spill over to affect the team. So once you get over the disappointment of not playing, you cheer your mates on and you hope for the win, because it's a squad game, it's a long season. And like I said, I've been frustrated, and I'm sure the boys will be frustrated as well, so we just get on with it.
And the way that things are going, another European night to look forward to on Thursday against Molde under the lights here at Easter Road. Terrific atmosphere. The boys must be loving it.
Yeah, absolutely loving it. And obviously it was a packed house today, and hopefully the same again on Thursday. So the boys are enjoying it, spending a lot of time together. Been in the hotel 5 days out of the 7 this week, so I'm sick of the sight of John McGinn and a few of the other boys, so it'd be good to get home and see my dog and just chill out.
And Molde, the manager says he didn't see an awful lot of difference between them and Asteris. How did the guys see that game?
To be honest, I don't know a lot about them. I don't think the boys have watched them play. That's the manager's job to watch them play and tell us what we need to do. So we'll leave that to him and his coaching staff, and we'll take the instructions on that he tells us to do. But in terms of me personally, I've got no idea what they are as a team, and I'm sure we look at them on Tuesday. Again,
though, today the fans right out there, right behind the side. Again, that must lift the lads. Even if there was any fatigue there today, it didn't show, and the fans are right behind you, getting you, cheering you over the line.
Yeah, the fans are massive. I don't think they understand just how big they are. Because I was tired, last 15 minutes. So, the boys who played Thursday, I don't know how they must have felt. So, but it's massive for us as a team when you hear the fans cheering you, getting you going, and making you press the ball and whatever else. And they play a huge part in what we achieve. So, we owe an awful lot to them, and hopefully they can keep it going for the whole season, and and we'll get the results for them.
And I guess at this stage of the season, it's still very, very early. It's great to be playing games weekends and midweek. Less training to do, I suppose.
Yeah, something like that. It's great to watch. I'm not sure how the boys feel playing all the time, but no, it's brilliant. We're professional footballers and we're here to play matches, and that's what we enjoy just as much as anybody else. So yeah, to play matches and have them coming thick and fast is brilliant for us as a team, and if you're winning games especially, keep the momentum going. So yeah, it's massive.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. Extended highlights from Sunday are now available, with the rest of this season's games as well as a huge archive of other classic matches all on Hibs TV. Next up for us, it's the small matter of Molde in the Europa League qualifiers on Thursday. Tickets are now available to buy online and from the ticket office. Until next time, my thanks to James Delaney as always for joining me. I'm off now to research flights to St Petersburg for no reason whatsoever. Thank you for listening and join us next time for the final whistle.